Wheels today. In the heart of Mooresville, Highway 150, just look for the Giant Horse or browse the full inventory at nelsonroyals.com.
Well, good afternoon, Lake Norman, and welcome to Town Talk. We're coming to you live from WSIC, the Real Talk Studio, nestled on the banks of beautiful Lake Norman, streaming worldwide from Rocky Top, Tennessee to Inman, South Carolina, population 3,054 people. That is if Betty didn't have her baby last night. So I'm your host, Bill Russell, president of Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce, the largest chamber of commerce in the Charlotte region. My guests today are Casey Broome. He is the president of Lake Norman Young Professionals. Stacie Bright, the Business Development and Marketing Coordinator for Advanced Wealth Strategies, and Leslie Reid, Vice President for Investor Relations of the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. And my producer, Bill Blakely, in the other room. And Bill, South Carolina shocked the world last night, beating number 5 Tennessee, taking down the Vols.
I did not see that. Congrats.
I expect at 6 o'clock, I'm going to be turning on WSIC. And I want to make sure Joe Berg is talking all about the South Carolina Gamecocks taking down the Tennessee Vols.
Yes, I'm sure he will. He'll dive right into the take out of the Duke, North Carolina week and get right into South Carolina.
You know, the men's basketball team, Casey, we're 18-3. Lamont Paris has come on board. 18-3. The women are 19-0. So and Georgia, what, 14-6? Is that what 14-6?
You know, I check out after football, so.
hey, Bill normally does too, so he doesn't have much room to talk on that one.
Yeah, well, they were doing pretty good. Do you know what the significance of Inman, South Carolina is other than Betty with her baby?
Oh, I do not.
It is the hometown of Deebo Samuels.
Okay.
South Carolina, San Francisco 49ers. Do you have a dog in that fight?
I do not. You know, I was really rooting for either the Lions or the Ravens, and they both got eliminated last week. So now we're just back to square one. I guess my only thought in it would be Patrick Mahomes has just won so many things at this point. Let's root for the hometown boy, Christian McCaffrey, to get in there and get a Super Bowl for himself.
I was telling Leslie the same thing. Christian McCaffrey, I'd love to see him get that. And Deebo Samuels from South Carolina. Yep. Do you have a favorite in Super Bowl?
I enjoy the commercials better than the game.
Well, I know you're a football fan, Leslie.
I am, but I like college football. I'm not a big pro football. And with the Panthers, you know, doing what they're doing, it's a little disheartening. So I usually follow wherever the Georgia Bulldogs, you know, sign on to the NFL. I usually pick one of them. You know, I got to keep up with the Bulldogs, you know, wherever they go. But this time I'm going with San Francisco with McCaffrey.
I'm not sure what dogs are playing for either one of those two teams.
I don't know off the top of my head. Saw a stat, this is random, but SEC Super Bowl correlation. Saw a stat today that an Alabama football player has never scored a touchdown in a Super Bowl.
Oh, really?
That really shocked me.
Because
of how many players they have in the NFL and how many players have probably competed in Super Bowls. That's pretty amazing that they've never scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Stacie, you're the Business Development and Marketing Coordinator for Advanced Wealth Strategies. That's Douglas Marion. He was our board chair of the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce last year. I think I met you first working at First Bank and North Point and Blue Harbor Bank before that. You've made the transition, though, from working in financial institutions. But let me ask you a question. What did you enjoy most? Because you had a pretty long career working within banks. What did you enjoy most about working within the banks here in Lake Norman?
I've always enjoyed working with finance. Being here in Lake Norman at some of the smaller community banks, a lot of the customers that were come in were people I grew up with, my parents grew up with them, our old neighbor, an old teacher. So just knowing everybody coming in, seeing how I can help them in some kind of way. And I still get to do that even with finance now. If I hear someone, I can say, oh, I know someone you need to talk to.
What specifically do you do over at Advance with Douglas?
I do a lot of their marketing, so I'm doing the social media, the Facebook, Instagram. We have a blog, we have a Google page. I put something out there here and there for Twitter for those 4 people that still look at it. LinkedIn, some of our community engagement, client outreach, things like that.
You are the chair of our WINS program, which is Women Influencing Networking and Sharing. Is that what that's the WINS stand for? Share a little bit about what WINS is, where you meet, and when.
We meet at H2. It's always the second Tuesday of the month. They are fantastic to us. We're there from 8 to 10. Anyone's invited. They don't have to be a member of the chamber to join us, although we do encourage it that anyone can come. And we have people who of all different people who are professionals, people who are, we have some stay-at-home moms, just ladies who want to get together and see, I mean, because everybody knows somebody. You're always looking for somebody that does something, even if it's just a local pizza place or something. So we look at things that we can help each other out with.
And where's H2 located for those that don't know?
H2 is in Cornelius. It's pretty close to the peninsula.
Yeah.
Anyone who, like me, myself, I would say, oh, it's near Coco Couture and Lemonade, Dutchman's.
I don't know how much you know about the history of WINS, but actually Sylvia Spurrier, who was on board the Chamber of Commerce, when she started the chamber about, I guess it was like 5 or 6 years ago, it was before COVID, said we need to create a program specifically for women to be able to network and professional development. She brought that on board. So hats off to her for that. What are some of the programs, Leslie, that we've done in the past, and what's coming up? Either one of you.
We've got the one that we have coming up now is February 13th. Cherise Spand from Advanced Wealth Strategies is going to be talking about what is your romance with finance. So she's going to have some financial tips for us and kind of go over that. We've had ladies who were, we've had doctors come in and speak on panels. We had one lady that talked about the different stages as you age. It's for ladies, so for the hormones from teenagers all the way up to menopause. They were there to ask all kinds of questions. The group is very solid. We have at least 50 people at every one of our meetings. We had Lindsay Fisher's fantastic. She comes in and she did 23 swaps for 23. And that was awesome. Just some healthy kind of swaps for that. What else? What can you?
What are some of the ones you've done in the past? Just last year in 2023.
Well, we try to give everyone an opportunity. We've had Revy Barr and Denise Fidelia. They talked about some products for our health and well-being. Denise does the veggie tower tree and how to grow one of those. There were a lot of people that had an interest in that. Given what's in our foods these days, I think people are really interested in healthier choices. So that one stuck out for me. But everyone we've had has been powerful. Leah Trowbridge from Macintosh Law, she did a very good presentation. So I've not been disappointed with anybody so far. I take something away from everybody.
That's what we try to do when we speak to our speakers. I want them to teach us something or
Right.
have us, if I want to ask a question that maybe I wouldn't normally just ask anybody, one of those kind of intimate type questions that just us ladies would want to talk about.
And in December, you kind of like had a little expo going on.
We did. We had a sip and shop. We had probably 16, 17 vendors come out, and we encouraged all of our ladies to shop local, shop from each other for our Christmas gifts. So we had a little bit of everything. It was a lot of fun.
Now, it's primarily marketed for women, but if Casey wanted to come out, if a guy wanted to come out,
more than welcome. And you don't have to wear a skirt. You're welcome to just come hang out with us. You may be the only one.
Yeah.
But you're more than welcome to come hang out at H2 with us.
I'll have to come check it out. H2 is a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
Stacie, we probably got less than a minute, but you've been very involved in Angels of 97 over the years. What are we still doing Angels of 97 fundraisers? I can't recall them. Have we had a spaghetti dinner recently?
We didn't get to have the spaghetti dinner the last few years because of COVID. We just don't want to take any chances of it being a super spreader. We've done festival in the park and some of the other small things.
Okay, and so the next event coming up?
I don't have one coming up at the moment. We will more than likely do something, if not in the spring, in the fall. We will have some type of event.
Well, we're going to go to a break with our sponsors, and we're going to be right back on Town Talk. So please join us, and thank you for being with us. We'll come right back on Town Talk. For those of you who are streaming with us on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, which is now X, and I say this every time, I think I just have a hard time. How do you X? You know, you tweet, but how do you X? You know, but it's like the whole Prince thing. You remember when Prince went to a symbol? Prince was no longer named Prince. It was like this thing. I don't even know how to deal with that. Yeah. But Casey, we use this to promote Chamber of Commerce activities. Tomorrow, Thursday, February 1st, we have a coffee connection. It's going to be taking place at Fifth Third Bank right here in Cornelius at Magnolia Plaza Branch. You want to share about what is Coffee Connection? That's one of the things that we do at the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely. Coffee Connection gives our members an opportunity to Network in the morning. Not everybody is available to do an evening event. School's in. We have children with homework and activities, and this gives our members an opportunity to have something first thing in the morning, get some casual networking in. We have the Huntersville Connection gathered together. We usually meet on Tuesday mornings on Zoom, and it's an opportunity for us to all see each other in person and see what we look like all together.
Now, tomorrow morning is 8:30 to 10, right?
Correct.
So we'll have that. And speaking of Fifth Third, they're going to be the presenting sponsor of a Diversity Council event next Thursday, which is going to be put on by the Diversity Council. It's going to look at Black history. And so we're going to talk about everything from housing needs to other things. It is going to be held at the Ada Jenkins Center, which is at 212 Gamble Street in Davidson. It is 12 o'clock to 1:30. You must RSVP if you're planning on coming to that particular event. That, too, again, is presented by Fifth Third Bank. And you can go to Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce, lakenormanchamber.org, to find out any kind of information about that.
And I encourage you to do it very soon because it is filling up fast if it's not filled already.
We have a marketing seminar coming up Tuesday, February 20th from 3:30 to 5 on Canva. Jamie Lane will facilitate Design Like a Boss, Master Canva at the Chamber in the Randy Marion Room. Jamie is the Community Relations Manager for Lake Norman EDC. She was, Stacie, she came in one day and she's done all of these brochures and things promoting the EDC. And we said, we got to be able to do something like that. And she said, I can teach you. Okay, we're going to go live here in just a second. Thank you for streaming with us.
Everything in between, visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
It's Town Talk with Lake Norman Chamber President Bill Russell on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
And we're back on Town Talk. I'm your host, Bill Russell. I'm here with Casey Broome. He's the president of Lake Norman Young Professionals. Stacie Bright with Advanced Wealth Strategies. Leslie Reid here with the Chamber of Commerce. And just before we went to break, I was talking about Angels of 97. We talked about some of the fundraising. For those who are unfamiliar, what is the Angels of 97?
It originally started out of North Meck High School with the class of 97. We had 5 angels who passed away before they could graduate, so we do a scholarship fund in their memory. So far over the years, we've done spaghetti dinners, we do a golf tournament. We always have something going on either the spring or the fall. We've sent over 300 kids to college.
Wow,
We've
300.
raised over $875,000 in scholarships.
Wow. 875. Can you believe that?
That is amazing.
Yes, and it's not, originally it's about our angels. It's to make sure that they're out there, but we also have other local angels. So we have over 100 angels now. We have a little book about them that kind of tells them so that people don't forget who they are and they know who they're looking at. We have scholarship recipients. My brother was a scholarship recipient. My son was a scholarship recipient. It's pretty neat.
How did you get brought into Angels of 97?
You want to tell everybody my age, huh?
No.
I grew up with the Angels of 97.
Okay.
I was part of the class of 96.
Okay.
So I do all of our angels.
Okay, so you knew them firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Casey, you are now the president, the incoming president of Lake Norman Young Professionals. You've already have at least one event under your belt that I attended last week.
Yep.
For people who are not familiar with Lake Norman Young Professionals, what is that?
Sure. So the Lake Norman Young Professionals is a subgroup of the Chamber of Commerce, which you know very well. It is meant for people from 25 to 40 years old, but we frequently get people that are a little bit older than 40, which is fine by us. We love having everybody come out and enjoy a good time with it being a younger crowd. We do partake in a few beverages and tend to have great conversation. So we meet twice a month. We meet on the second Tuesday at 11 Lakes. At that meeting, we have a speaker. So our next one is next Tuesday, February 13th. Mr. Bill Russell to my right will actually be our speaker next week. If you want to come out and hear a little bit more from him. And then our second monthly meeting is on the 4th Thursday. And this is what we call our off the clock. So this is where we check out new spots in the Lake Norman area. So we went to Dive Bar last week. We have a couple of really cool places on the schedule that I'm not going to disclose quite yet, keep the people waiting. But that is our off the clock meeting. So again, that's the 4th Thursday. We meet on at 6:30 at a varying location. So you can find that on the Chamber's website. We'll update that calendar with the location that we're meeting.
If somebody wanted to join the Young Professionals, how did they do that?
Yeah, so I mean, first and foremost, come to a meeting. we really encourage people to come and check it out for a few times, even before joining. It's only a $50 fee to join, and that gives you
And that's
access.
annually.
And that's an annual fee. Yeah, $50 annually. And that gives you access to go to the different ribbon cuttings and other chamber events as well. So if you're a young professional in the area like myself and you're not working with a company who's already affiliated with the chamber, it's a great way to get connected with chamber events and meet people in the area.
And if you're looking for information on the young professionals, obviously you can go to Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce website. You can call the Chamber of Commerce, or you guys have a Facebook presence.
We do. That's actually how I figured out about the Lake Norman Young Professionals whenever I moved here, was looking for networking groups online. And it was one that I happened to come across, and obviously it stuck. So we do have a Facebook, Lake Norman Young Professionals. We also have an Instagram, which I believe is LKYP. I'll maybe double check on that. I'm not sure off the top of my head for the Instagram, but we are on social media.
I need to go back and see exactly when we started the Lake Norman Young Professionals. I remember the first outing was at Harvey's, the original Harvey's down there where the Lake Norman Brewery and all of that is in the Liverpool section. So that was the first meeting. It was about 9 years ago.
Yeah, I know
coming up on
Greer
10.
Cause. She was
Greer Gauze was the
Gauze,
very
excuse me.
yeah Gauze.
Oh. I know that she was, I think, the first president or founding.
She was in the first
Yeah.
group because her father, Tim Gauze, was on my chamber board. He worked for Duke Energy, and I was talking about to the board how I really wanted to start something that the young professionals could get involved in that maybe weren't involved in the Chamber of Commerce. And he thought about that. Of course, he thought about his own daughter, somebody who worked at Lowe's but wasn't really plugged into the community. And he said, I can get you some Duke money and help put that thing together. And so he did. He scheduled that, and we had our first event. Ironically, Douglas Marion, and one of the reasons we created the event, Stacie, was so that some of the young people who might be 21 to 39 who were not really involved in the chamber and maybe not in leadership roles with some of the businesses could get involved. Maybe they may be employed by a business, and they might become the future leaders of our community, whether they're the president of the Rotary Club or Kiwanis Club or board chairs. And ironically, this past year, Douglas Marion, who started in our Lake Norman Young Professionals, became the board chair of the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. So it achieved exactly what we were looking to do. Casey, what are some of the favorite projects that you have in the young professionals that you really enjoy working in?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's really two that come to mind for me that we do every year. One of them is volunteering. So we go to Ada Jenkins, local center for children, once a year and help out with landscaping. So we're really boots to the ground. Everybody shows up. It's a good time being around fellow people that you hang out with all the time, mulching, pulling some weeds. I know it doesn't sound like that much fun, but it really is cool. And the people at Ada Jenkins are so appreciative of our help there. And the second is our annual fundraiser. So for the last 3 years, we've been doing a putt-putt tournament, a little bit different than most. I know golf tournament's kind of the mainstream thing to do, but we've been doing a putt-putt tournament at Frankie's Fun Park in Huntersville to raise money for Pat's Place. And so we've been doing that for 3 years now, and it's grown year over year in attendance and popularity. So there is some disputes about the winners of the tournament year over year. I happen to be on the winning team 2 years running, so that, people don't love that are on the board with me. But anyways, yeah, I highly encourage, if you're going to come to one event, come to the Frankie's Fun Park fundraiser.
Who invited you to your first Young Professionals meeting?
Yeah, so I mentioned Facebook earlier. That's how I discovered it. I connected with Bailey Sigler, who was our past president. I noticed that he actually grew up in Hickory, North Carolina, which is where I'm from. And so whenever I was looking online, I work in insurance, which is referral-based business, and looking for a group to, not only network for work, but also make some friends, because I was new to the area at the time. And so Bailey was the one that I had reached out to initially, and he introduced me to the people in the group and brought me on. So that's kind of a cool connection that we have.
Casey, I know that you've talked about some of the fun things you do with networking. You get together in the off the clock. You talked about some of the projects that you raise money, but you also have professional development programs from time to time. Can you talk about some of those? I mean, I know pre-COVID you had an excellent program on getting around on some of the Windows programs like Excel and some of the things like that. Have you had any professional development programs recently?
So I know that was something before I was involved with the young professionals that we did frequently. I know that since then, and it's something that we talked about at the board meeting starting off this year, was bringing back some of those professional development programs. So there's nothing that we have scheduled yet, but it is definitely top of mind, something that we need to put on the books. And I think that an Excel training would be fantastic with how many different job roles require using Excel nowadays. So more information to come on that.
Well, if you want to talk about marketing, here's a girl right over here to my right. She can talk to you about marketing, and certainly Leslie knows a whole host of people that can bring out. And I think last year, the year before, you had a wine tasting.
We did. We've done a couple of wine tastings, and we had a lot of attendance at one of them last year. So we're working with the people from the Davidson Inn, Mariano, who has an extensive wine collection and runs classes in the Hurt Hub outside of he has his own program for that. So we did have one last year, and it was very well attended, and people really enjoyed getting in there for a cheaper price. Those are kind of some of the benefits of that $50 is we reinvest some of that money into the events that we do, and that was one of them. So you get to show up and get to taste a lot of fancy wines for not very much money. Just register and attend.
Yeah, I know you went to North Carolina State. Were you in a fraternity at North Carolina State?
I was in Delta Sigma Phi at North Carolina State.
Delta Sigma Phi. Were you in a sorority?
I wasn't.
Okay. Leslie, I know you were in a sorority.
Oh, yeah. Kappa Kappa Gamma, or better known as the Krispy Kreme girls. I won't go into detail, but there was a year that, the group was rather, on the plump side, so they got the nickname Krispy Kreme girls. But anyway, Kappa Kappa Gamma is pretty big down at Georgia, and yeah, you can fill in the rest of what happens with a sorority.
Yeah.
Casey, I was in a fraternity too. I was in Pi Kappa Phi, and if you're in a fraternity in college or a sorority in college, it's not just a group of just having parties and things like that, because there's usually a philanthropy involved. You're going to argue about that?
I'm just kidding.
Kappa Kappa Gamma was just about parties. But it's usually going to involve some other things. You're going to have a philanthropy. You're going to do things. I told Susan Medlin the other day, so many kids are forced to go to school, and many of them would be better off by serving in apprenticeship programs or trade schools and going straight into the workforce than going off to college. I will tell you, I went to Winthrop University. I don't know that any of the 5 years that I spent at Winthrop, that I studied anything that I really utilize now in my role at the Chamber of Commerce. However, what I did do, being president of fraternity and all the other roles that I had, and also in the Junior Chamber of Commerce, or JCs, which is sort of the equivalent of your young professionals, those are the things that have helped me excel in what I do in the Chamber of Commerce. That's really worked for me.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Me being involved in the fraternity and being in leadership was 100% something that carried on into my career after graduating from college. And the other thing that I would give, just as a general advice to parents that may have kids in college right now, or kids that are listening who are in college right now, is internships.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any idea of what you want to do, check out an internship. I can't say it enough how much I learned from the internships that I had while I was in college that really provided me with some skill sets that I use to this day.
My son does some of that. He said college wasn't his thing. And I mentioned that if you're not going to college, you better have a talent. You need to work for a trade or do something. He is at Central Piedmont, and they have a program through Carolina Tractor to be a diesel mechanic. So he's doing that. He still wants to know why he has to learn math and English to be a mechanic. But he's taking it.
Well, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about your business. And Leslie, I want to talk about some of the things we're doing here at the Chamber of Commerce. We're going to go to our sponsors. We'll be right back after a few words from them. We'll be right back on Town Talk. For those of you streaming with us out there in Facebook land and all of our other social media, on Thursday, February 8th, 5:30 to 7, we have the Dive Bar ribbon cutting and after hours. That's going to be taking place. It's over on Shops on the Green. And we have Kevin Stalfo and his staff, and they're going to be joining us for that or hosting us for that. They have a location also in Hickory, and we're really excited they opened in Cornelius. Casey, you guys had your off the clock social at the dive bar just last Thursday. Want to talk about that?
Oh, it's a great spot. You know, what's better than playing some arcade games and having a couple of drinks? The dive bar is awesome. I regretfully got smoked by one of our female members of the young professionals in the basketball hoops game. So we'll keep that on the down low. But dive bar is awesome. Yeah.
I was watching everybody playing the basketball games, and that looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, like I said, wasn't my best. I sat off to the side and did the buck shooting game. I had a little bit more experience there.
Why is networking so important for business, whether you're in the young professionals or anything? Why is networking so important?
Yeah, I mean, you hear people say it's about what's the saying? It's about the hand you shake. Completely blanking on it right now, but you know, it's all about relationships, and that's what networking boils down to. I think that there are different strategies that people use for networking. You know, there's people that come to the young professionals and to other networking events that I go to where, you know, they immediately expect business. They shake your hand, they give you their spiel, and they expect you to refer business to them or refer your own whatever, you know, product that they're selling for you to purchase something from them. But I think networking is really important because you build relationships with people that introduce you to other people that introduce you to other people, and that can take you a really long ways in whatever career you're in.
Stacie, you're the queen of networking. I don't know that there's any networking event in Lake Norman that I don't see you with your camera and taking pictures and posting them out. And so you attend a lot. Why is networking important for your business?
Exactly like you said, the friendships, the people that you meet. Being a native here, there's people moving here all the time. And I tell them I'm happy to, I've got people I've worked with over the years. So I know painters, I know realtors, if they need something, if they just want to know who the best pizza place around here is, stuff like that. I like that they know they can come to me and I can help them with it.
And you attend a lot of ribbon cuttings. I don't think we have a ribbon cutting that I don't see your smiling face there as well.
Thank you.
Casey, anything else about the young professionals? Anything coming up? Why should somebody belong? Why should anyone 21 to 39 get involved in our young professionals program?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a great way to meet people our age and to connect with people. I mean, like I said earlier, you know, it's one thing to network and be business focused. A lot of the people that serve on the leadership board of the young professionals are some of my best friends. And so if you're new into town or you've been here for a while and you just have a couple folks that you know, it's an awesome way to come out and meet people.
Okay. Bill, how much time we have left? We're going right back. Thank you for streaming with us.
You're asked whether Facebook and Instagram should compensate victims. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
Now more Town Talk with Lake Norman Chamber President Bill Russell on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, welcome back to Town Talk. I'm Bill Russell, your host. I have Casey Broome. He is the president of our Lake Norman Young Professionals. Stacie Bright is with Advanced Wealth Strategies and Leslie Reid, Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. And Casey, we were talking about young professionals, but I want to talk about you for a second. You grew up in Hickory, so you're sort of a semi-product of the Charlotte region. You went to North Carolina State, then you came back to work for your family's insurance business.
Yes, yeah. So went to NC State, graduated, worked in software sales for a period of time, which is the stereotypical thing to do in the Research Triangle Park area. Ton of great software companies to work for, but there was always that calling to come back and be in a smaller town and work for the family business. Not only for the sake of working for the family business, but I growing up, I got to be around my dad. So working in the family business, my dad, my grandfather, and his father, all insurance brokers. I got to see the way that they carry themselves around town, the relationships that they were able to make. And that was something that I really just wasn't able to get working in corporate sales. So working in software sales, it was for cybersecurity. I'm calling on C-level executives of big corporations, and it was a great job, but I wasn't working with people who truly cared about what they were buying. They cared about it in the capacity of, well, I need to protect this so I don't get fired. But they didn't care about it like someone cares about an insurance product, whether that be a family or a business. For people that own businesses, that's something that they've likely invested all of their time and money into. And so there's nothing more important to them than ensuring their interest in that business. And so getting to connect with people and learn about their business and learn about how things got started for them, how things have been going, and ways that you can help them is really unique. And that was a huge driving force of why I moved back and got involved in the insurance business.
Did you say you're third or fourth generation insurance?
Fourth generation.
Fourth generation insurance. Wow.
Yeah. Rare breed. I don't. There's really not many younger folks in the insurance business in general nowadays. It feels like, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll be honest. Growing up, I wasn't sold on coming back and working for the family business.
And how old is it?
It's 73 years old.
73 years old.
Yeah, so it's been around for some time in Hickory, and we've actually grown. So we have a branch. We partnered with another company out of North Wilkesboro that's also a family business. They've been around for 100 years. So we now have a branch in North Wilkesboro, Davidson here, that's me, Albemarle, and Greensboro. So
and the name of the insurance business?
Legacy Insurance Partners. So it's a little bit confusing because we're individually marketed. Like I'm TSG Insurance here in Davidson. We got Broome Insurance there in Hickory, so forth and so on. But we're all under one umbrella as Legacy Insurance Partners.
What kind of lines of insurance do you carry?
Yeah, so everything property and casualty. I mentioned families and I mentioned businesses. So families, home, auto, umbrella. I specialize in high value homes, being in this area and working closely with a couple of real estate companies who also specialize in that. And there's a pretty large need for it around here. So home and auto insurance on the personal line side, and then commercial lines, you have general liability, business auto, and any type of property that they might have as well. So
what sets you apart from any other insurance agent? I mean, why should they go to seek you out?
Yeah, well, I would like to say it's because of, what I alluded to earlier in the relationship and care that I have for every customer that I'm working with. There's a ton of insurance brokers that you walk around, see on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of us have similar products.
Mm-hmm.
So what sets any insurance agent apart is being able to provide the best coverage at a good price, and then being for them when they need you, being able to provide that service. And I think that that's something that I do a good job of. And hopefully the people that I work with would agree on that. So,
I don't think I ever told you this. My father worked in insurance his whole career. He came out of the University of South Carolina in 1959, went to work for a firm called First Insurance that later merged with People's, and it became People's First Insurance in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And I got to tell you, sometimes we'd be home and the phone would ring 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. And it was somebody who said, I forgot to get that taken care of before I left. I need to make sure I do this. And so, he was, and it was all about taking care of his particular clients. Because when Dad retired the first time, because he retired like 3 times from that company, he retired and everybody started dropping their insurance, and they went back and got my dad and said, okay, come back. And he was training somebody that then would be his replacement. And then he retired again, and that person stayed for a little while but left, and they went and got my dad back. And he said, okay, this is it. This is it. I'm going to work for 6 months and then I'm done. But he was insurance too. It was his whole career. And you don't really have that now, because most people, they get in and they do all kinds of things. I started off in office furniture and supplies and did property management for a while, and now Chamber of Commerce Association management. So I've had some various careers. You've transitioned. You were in banking. Did you do something before banking?
My first job out of college, I sold cars at Park Chevrolet.
Did you really? For Sissy?
I loved it. For Tracy and Sissy, yes.
You worked
and
for
their
Sissy.
dad was there then too.
Okay.
Yes. He would come in his little purple S10.
And you sold Chevrolets?
I did.
Oh, good for you.
And I could do used vehicles too, or gently. I don't know how they put that now, but yes.
Gently.
Yes,
used vehicles.
both.
Gently vehicle. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you at Advance, how would they do it?
They would call me on my cell phone. They could find me on Facebook. They could call the office, however they want to reach out.
And if somebody's looking for insurance, Casey?
Yeah, same as Stacie. Call my cell phone. I have a LinkedIn profile, Casey Broome. Pretty easy to find our website online. It's legacyinsurancepartners.com. We have a link there to provide your information if you're looking for quoting. Outside of that, all of our contact information should be listed on the website.
Yeah. Leslie, last year, 52 ribbon cuttings, 33 professional development seminars, 98 networking events, 2 a week. You probably were at like 95 of them. That's a lot, Leslie.
That is a lot. We're going to knock it out of the park again this year.
Well, you started a year ago in January, and then just recently we brought Brett Hicks on board. He's working some hours with us. But share, what do you do at the Chamber of Commerce?
I think the easier question is what I don't do. So I don't have a radio show, and I don't do Around the Lake. Other than that, no, I'm just kidding. I do wear many hats at the chamber. So I do all the scheduling for the ribbon cuttings and the after hours. I'm the chamber representative at the Huntersville Connection and the Winds that my counterpart here lassos in. And I'm also the chamber representative for the Diversity Council group that we're meeting on to develop the women's conference that's coming up in May. Other than that, I take out the trash, stock the conference room, whatever needs to be done at the chamber. I'm happy to do. My favorite part, though, it goes back to what Casey was talking about as far as the connection piece. It's about the people for me. It's about the businesses and getting to know what they do and connecting them with somebody else. Because as you've said many times, joining the chamber alone is not enough. I mean, it's like a gym membership. If you don't use it, you lose it. So I think the involvement and getting to know the people strengthens our chamber, and great connectors like Stacie and Casey makes our chamber stronger. So.
Casey, what she was just saying, so any Chamber of Commerce member that's looking to book any type of networking event, whether it's a business mixer in the afternoon or a business mixer in the morning, ribbon cutting, any of those types of events, if you guys as the young professionals are hosting some type of event, you call Leslie and she makes sure she puts it on the calendar. So that's a very important thing that you do. February 15th is a big date for us. You want to talk about what's happening on February 15th?
Well, we have our power luncheon out at Northstone Country Club. It's one of 4 big luncheons that we do out that way. This one is our education lunch, and we are going to honor the teachers of North Mecklenburg County. We're going to do the public schools, private schools, and charter schools. So I think this is one of the most special luncheons that we have for me, because I think educators are underappreciated, underpaid. And I've had some time in the school system, and I've seen what they go through. And so all of our luncheons seem meaningful, though. The public service luncheon is powerful. The diversity one they're just great luncheons to attend. And for members, it's $35. You can register on the website. $40 for non-members. Just contact the chamber if you're interested in attending. And we have our speaker, which is Chris Marsicano, and he is the assistant professor. Let me get this right. Assistant professor.
Public policy.
Yes, of public policy, but also something else. Educational studies and public policy. There you go. At Davidson College. So I'm really excited to listen to what he has to say. I think since he's well versed in the public policy, I think we're going to learn a lot. His
father, Tony Marsicano, was down at the Foundation of the Carolinas, and I don't know if they had anything to do with Angels and Sparrows. Angels 97. Did they host any of the monies for you guys, or was that just done locally?
Most of that was here local. Yes.
Yeah, we got him. And you mentioned at North Mecklenburg. Actually, some of our schools like Lane Tree, Pine Lake Prep, they're really in Iredell County. So it's more of a Lake Norman function than it is North Mecklenburg per se. So I think we're going to break in just a few seconds. So stay with us. We're going to hear a few words from our sponsors, and we'll be back. And Town Talk, WSIC.
More of.
Thank you for those who are streaming with us. Sorry, Bill, I thought I heard you say 30 seconds a little while ago. And
that's my fault. Maybe I did. I thought I said a minute. I'm sorry.
Well, no. It's sometimes I don't hear as well as I used to. This past Friday, Friday, January 19th, we had Senator Sawyer and Representative Bradford. Actually, I guess it was a couple of weeks now, but we had them in a Focus Friday, did a fantastic job. Beth Cashin is our new public policy chair, and so on February 16th is our next Focus Friday, and she's going to have a focus on Town Hall. So we got Mayor Woody Washam, Mayor Rusty Knox, Mayor Christy Clark from Huntersville. So we got Huntersville, Davis, and Cornelius, and we're going to have the three mayors talk about the big issues facing the town, certainly. And town of Huntersville, a lot of transportation projects going on. You see their orange barrels. We're weaving through those things and see all of those. They're starting to make some inroads and finishing, I think, on 115. But Gilead is got a whole host of projects still left, and then we're going to be working on Sanford Road after that. So in the conceivable future, going to be road improvement projects in Huntersville and the town hall. I was talking to former Mayor Melinda Bales this morning about the whole issue surrounding town hall, and that's still a debatable issue, and they're having a lot of discussions about that as well. On March 15th, 8:30 to 9:30, we're going to focus on our local police department. So we got all three police chiefs that's going to be in at Focus Friday. Those Focus Friday events, Casey, are now in person and virtual. So if you can't be there, you can watch us virtually. But if you can, we encourage you to come on down and ask some questions of our police chiefs and attend that. And then some of the other ones that I know that she has on tap, she's going to have our fire chiefs there as well, probably Parks and Recreation as well represented on our Focus Fridays. Business After Hours on February 15th. You want to talk about that?
Yes, we have one of our members that is in home healthcare, Nate Connolly, and we're going to be at Cornerstone Caregiving. So look forward to that. A wonderful group of people there.
And Nate's involved in our Chamber of Commerce as well as an ambassador.
Right.
Those of you streaming, we're going back live in about 10 seconds, so stay with us.
To submit your event today.
Call now to speak with Lake Norman Chamber President Bill Russell at 844-STUDIO 4. It's Town Talk on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to Town Talk. I'm your host, Bill Russell. I have Casey Broome. He is the president of our Lake Norman Young Professionals. Leslie Reid, who is our vice president for investor relations, and Stacie Bright, who is our business development marketing coordinator for Advanced Wealth Strategies and on our board of directors. Stacie, speaking of, you were involved in Huntersville Connection, which was the Huntersville Regional Chamber of Commerce. And about 2 years ago, we, as a board of directors, we as the Lake Norman Chamber Board voted, and you as a Huntersville Connection Board voted to merge the two organizations together to be a much stronger organization. We have 4 of your former board members now part of Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. You were involved, though, in the Chamber of Commerce before then, Lake Norman. But talk about how from an outside perspective, maybe of what the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce does and how it's impacted you.
It's impacted me in many ways. I love the fact that we meet so many people from so many different walks of life. We have, people who are just opened up their first store, their first restaurant. We have tradesmen that are looking for something to do in electrical. They're doing plumbing, a little bit of everything. And it's really nice to be able to find those people. And then when my dad needs something or my neighbor needs something, people know that I meet these people every day. I welcome them to the community. I try to give them support. I share stuff on Facebook for them, check into their business when I can get there. H2's been fantastic. So a lot of times when I go there for my one-on-ones or some of my meetings with the chamber, we'll go there, and I try to put that out there because they have been fantastic. But just the people part of it, getting to know people, working with charities. I love that part of it. There's so many charities involved that we can do stuff for.
Casey, oftentimes when we bring a board member on board, for the first year or two, they kind of sit back and, they're kind of quiet and they're kind of watching things. Stacie was on board like a week, and we had her chairing WINS, which is one of our big programs, and she's been extremely involved in the Chamber of Commerce since the day that she came onto the board of directors. So thank you very much for all of your involvement and for just jumping straight in.
Of course.
And putting everything together.
Can I tell a funny story about
Please,
Stacie
yeah,
and
go
the
ahead.
WINS group? Well, it's really just Stacie. We had a big storm. I guess you all remember that in January. And so we just had a small group at the WINS program because Mecklenburg County schools were closed. And it was such a good meeting. And I came back to the office and I was telling Bill how great the meeting was and that we powered through and everything. He said, "Oh, did you take pictures?" And I'm like, "No, Stacie wasn't there. Stacie," and I just depend on her so much.
Stacie is the picture taker.
But Stacie wasn't there. So anyway, she just does so much, and I greatly appreciate her involvement.
And you two work together in the WINS program, but we have another huge women's program coming up in May. You want to speak to that?
Yes, that's one of my favorite days of the year, and it's our annual women's conference. It will be on May 16th. We had a meeting today to hash out some details, so we'll have the theme. We'll unveil the theme shortly, but it's going to be exciting. It always is. It's an inspirational day. It's a day of enrichment and education, and we are really looking forward to another packed house. We had 200 women last year. And it was it's been a huge, I've been going for years, since the inception from other companies. And I come away so empowered, want to go back to my team and inspire them. So I'm excited about it.
And you're involved in the women's conference too, right?
Yes. We were just at the same meeting right before we came here.
Golf tournament's already planned for October 28th. That's going to be at Northstone again?
Yep, I'll be recovered from the last one by then. It'll take me a year to get over that. But we had 136 golfers and a beautiful day out at Northstone. Gorgeous day. We had some great sponsorships, great prizes for our winners, and great raffles. It was just a good time for all, except for Stacie fell off a golf court and still has the scars from it. I caught half of it on video, but other, besides Stacie's injuries.
But you're such a sweet friend. You would never let
she
that
told
get
me
out.
I deleted the whole thing. But
Casey, you're very involved in Rotary. I'm involved in Rotary too. I've been in Rotary since 1997, and just like the chamber board with Stacie, you got involved in Rotary and you just jumped straight in. And I'm pretty sure you chair our Rotary golf tournament.
I do. I'm the fundraising chair for the North Mecklenburg Rotary Club. This is my second year. So our annual fundraiser is a golf tournament as well. Who doesn't like getting outside and knocking a ball around and hanging out with good people? So we have our tournament coming up this May. It's May 16th at Mooresville Golf Club. The tournament starts at 2:30. We do have an open registration online. I have to, maybe we can drop the link or something after the show for that, but we have a way for you to register online. This year, we are benefiting Kane Center of Arts. So we're going to be donating a interactive musical piece for children. So just out back of the Kane Center of Arts, there'll be some bongos and some chimes for them to walk around and go beat on before they walk into a great show at the Kane Center. So we're really excited about that. We've been working on plans for it and still kind of finalizing the items that we're going to purchase. But absolutely, come out and support the Rotary and help kids at the Kane Center be able to play with some interactive art.
Now, most people probably know what Rotary is, but for somebody that is unfamiliar of Rotary, what is Rotary and when do we meet here?
Yeah, so Rotary is a networking and philanthropic group. I would say it's equal 50-50, if anything, maybe a little bit more philanthropic. We meet once a week on Wednesdays at noon. The North Meck Rotary Club meets at the Peninsula Club. So it's a great time. We have lunch. We have a speaker every week. It's awesome to come out and hear them speak and get to be around great people.
2 clubs in Huntersville. We have a club in Davidson. I think we did have 1 or maybe 2 in Mooresville. So I'm sure there's probably a Rotary Club anywhere anyone's listening in this listenership.
Yeah. Again, going back to me growing up, that's how I got involved in Rotary, was seeing my dad. He was active in our Rotary Club in Hickory, and we had a soccer tournament. That was our big fundraiser every year. So I'd drive around on the Gator and help him put down the corner flags and pick them up, and that's really where those were the first time I was exposed to Rotary, and really happy to be a part of it now.
Stacie, I know you're so involved in so many organizations. Are you in any civic organizations?
I am not. Now, I will volunteer when Kiwanis does their turkey dinner. I go out and help pack boxes. I try to help people as far as fundraising. With the Rotary, they did have a wine event, and I helped get some donations for that. Anytime I have a chance to help, I just tell everybody, let me know what I can do.
And Leslie, I know you've been super involved. Are you involved in any civic organization?
No, I have been in the past, but not recently. So
We one of the things that when Leslie said she was interested in becoming the Chamber of Commerce, I was so excited because in your past you've owned a business. Share a little bit about your backgrounds, particularly with Chambers of Commerce.
sure. I had an interior design business, and I had a retail store at Shops on the Green, and the chamber was right next door. So I served as an ambassador, and I will not tell you the date because I believe pterodactyls were still in the air. But it was a long time ago. But I was a part of the chamber then, and then I had moved on to. I worked for Pet Pilgrimage, which is a division of Cabin Cook Funeral Homes, and I took care of pets when they passed away. I was the director there for 11 years. It's the hardest job I ever loved, and I joined. I had joined the Lake Norman Chamber, the Mooresville Chamber, the Statesville Chamber, and the Lincoln County Chamber, and did leadership with the Statesville, Mooresville, and the Lake Norman Chamber. So I'm a junkie. I believe in what the chamber represents. I believe in community support, and I believe in small business because I have been two businesses as a small business, so I understand where they're coming from.
Stacie, you've been involved in our chamber and the Huntersville Chamber. Regardless of where you're at, whether you're in Concord or Denver, Lincolnton, Statesville, Mooresville, why should you belong to your local Chamber of Commerce? Why should somebody join?
There's so many reasons. I love the idea. You mentioned a ribbon cutting, and I don't know if you know, but with the ribbon cutting, it doesn't have to be like their grand opening. It could be a grand reopening. It could be their 5-year anniversary. There's so many different things, and it's such an awesome time. You invite everybody, come out, let's show our support, let's do something for this local business. I love that part of it.
Casey, same question. You're involved in the Chamber of Commerce. Why should a young person get involved, not just in young professionals? Why should they join the Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah, I think it's a great way to learn about the local community, first and foremost. You move to a new place, or even if you've been there for a while, there's always some businesses that you're not familiar with, and it's great to be able to go to some of the ribbon cuttings like Stacie mentioned, as well as meeting other people that go to them. It's a great way to network with people also.
We have one more program we haven't touched on. We have locked down the date for the Lake Norman Business Expo. You'll be the first ones to hear it other than Leslie, but it is going to be Tuesday, October 8th. The reason it is Tuesday, October 8th is that's the week that CPCC Marrancas campus will go on break, so they're not using their parking lot, maybe the Criminal Justice Center, but that parking lot's available to us for overflow parking. So Monday the 7th will be move-in for those vendors that want to move in early. Tuesday the 8th is actually going to be the event. Stacie, you've been involved in our expo. Again, why should somebody come out to the Lake Norman Chamber Business Expo?
They get to meet so many new people. There's so many opportunities. If you've got something that maybe somebody can't really touch, see, feel when it's online, or when you're looking at it through there, you got it in person. They've got that there. There's so many designs. There's a gentleman that has TrueVert, where they do the plants that kind of go up the wall. There's so many neat things and so many stuff you would never even know. And then you get to meet those people. And in addition, you get to meet the people that are coming to your booth. And it's just a wonderful day. And there's so many people involved.
Coming up on 1 minute, in 30 seconds, what's the best business advice you were ever given? And I know you're still young, but what is it so far?
Oh, gosh. To think on that for just a second.
Stacie, best business advice.
Find someone who is a powerhouse. Watch what they do. I met someone when I first started networking, and I was nervous. They kind of took me in under their wing. They would walk into a room and say, okay, let's start the party. I'm ready. And I always said, I'm going to do that one day.
Best business advice, 15 seconds.
Lead with your heart, and the rest will follow.
Lead with your heart. The best will follow. Thank all three of you being on Town Talk today. If it's Wednesday afternoon, we're talking about our towns on Town Talk on WSIC. We'll see you next week.
The new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC, Statesville, W290DK, Mooresville, Lake Norman, North Charlotte.